Okay, in example number 2, our parameter is from -1 to 1. So we need to make sure we start and end the t values that we're plugging in at -1 and end at +1. And looking at my notes from last year, I can see that it's helpful to have the other points in between. So I've thrown in -1/2 and +1/2 to help me with a couple of other points as well. All right, so let's throw some axes on our graph. I've already, oh, that is not my straight line drawer, is it? Doop, doop. I've already plugged these numbers into the formulas and found the x and y values. Instead of each little square being a value of 1, I think we should count by 4s or something like that to make these fractions easier to graph so that we can really see what the graph is looking like. So I'm going to say that like this point is at -1, and this point here is at +1, and this point's at positive. I guess we want to go clear up to 2 though, so maybe my graph paper isn't big enough. Actually, here's what I did when I graphed this last year, is I actually took this and had it lower, because look at the y values, they're all positive. So that still fits, and I can kind of use the same scale on that axis that I used on the other axis. Sorry, maybe you already drew yours in and I just messed you up. All right, so sketching in our points, I've got a point at -1, 2, a point at -1/8, +1/2, a point at 0, 0, a point at 1/8, 1/2, and a point at 1, 2. It's possible that it would be helpful to have other points in here, but the thing is we're not graphing t, so it's hard to kind of, we wouldn't want to do anything smaller than -0.5, like to fit something in here, we would want it a bigger fraction than 1/2, right? Anyway, I don't think we need it. The whole point is I wanted you to see that it's kind of a curved line. It's not a straight line, and also it just kind of comes down and bounces. Ah, I didn't draw that very well. Ugh, I cannot hit the dots, guys. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to do. Anyway, sort of this shape. So that's interesting, right? The x values would go from -1 to 1, and the y values would go from 0 to 2. And this one would be a function. We don't really care, though, if parametric equations are functions or not in general. We just want to know the path of something that's moving. And sometimes it moves in a path that represents a function, and sometimes it does not. So I don't think it hurts to do domain and range even if they're functions or not. So, okay, let's go to